How's the first week gone?
It's going well. We've been really fortunate with this weather. You know, it's cooperated in a lot of ways. Gives us an opportunity to play really hard and fast. You know, we got a long way to go, but guys have made improvement. It's been fun to see how sometimes you go through spring and it's up and it's down, it's all over the place, and then they get that month off, and especially for some of these young guys, it starts to absorb a little bit, and you're seeing the byproduct of it out here.
How do you feel the D-line has done so far, and how good can it be?
Yeah, they've shown glimpses of being good. Yeah, I'm excited about that unit from edge to edge and the depth it has. We got a lot of players that have some really special attributes to add to our defense. Yeah, we're going to lean on them. You know, obviously we're younger on the back end, especially from a corner and not necessarily safety, but nickel perspective. So we're going to lean on them to get pressure and help us out as those young guys develop.
A little bit about those corners, you know, Les and Bryce and those guys, and the dynamic of being so young back there. Right? What's the difficulty as a DC to?
I would say the biggest difficulty for them is they don't necessarily have that veteran guy to look to show them the process, to show them exactly what it's supposed to look like. But at the same time, it creates this unbelievable competition across the board. I think, you know, Bryce and Bless, they're taking the first reps right now, but they know, like, the best man will play. So it's been an awesome competition from that standpoint so far. These young guys get better every day. And
those guys' skill sets and maybe how different they are, Bryce and Bless.
Bless, long, strong, aggressive, tough. He'll challenge you. He wants to play at the line of scrimmage. He wants to get his hands on you. He wants to disrupt. He's a proven tackler. He's tough. He'll show up in the run game. He'll support. Bryce, long, strong, same as, maybe a little bit more of the cerebral type. You know, he really wants to study the stances and study the releases and play a little different brand of ball. Both have great attributes as far as their length is concerned, though. As we know, receivers just keep getting bigger in this league and creating the mismatches that become problems for us on Sunday. So both guys bring a lot of value in that way, but they're being pushed by these young guys, and I'm excited about the young group.
We talked with Robert a lot before you guys put on the pads, and we would ask him about Carl Lawson, and he kept saying, "Well, wait for the pads to come on, wait for the pads to come on, wait for the pads to come on." Pads came on yesterday. He had another 2 sacks, or 2 where he got in there. Has his disruption or how impressive he's been in training camp to this point surprised you all? Like, is he almost better than what you guys expected?
I had like some of the highest regard for him before he even got here. I think he's one of those rare guys that he's an exceptional player, but the general public doesn't know him yet. You know, the general public obviously is very caught up in sacks and quarterback disruption and the statistical part of rushing, which he doesn't always check those boxes, but he's been a guy that's got historic win rates. You know, his obsession with this game, you know, now to see him up close as far as his stance and the timing of his hands and his feet and the distance from the tackle, his foot, and the way he studies the tackle set and the way he studies the offense, it's as obsessed as I've ever seen. So from that standpoint, I'm blown away, you know, the student of the game.
Can you see at a point when a player goes from having, like, we saw like Leonard Williams last year, he used to play here, was always like quarterback hits. Last year with the Giants, he got the quarterback sacks. As a coach, can you tell when the sacks are about to come, when those hit? Like, is there an extra step? Is there an extra offseason where you can say, like, okay, now he's about to get the sacks?
It's a lot of things. You know, it's sometimes who you're working with as far as an interior rusher. Do they have a pocket to step up into? Sometimes it's the coverage not getting connected as far as the DBs are concerned and letting the ball get out. Sometimes it's not creating enough deception as far as the shell and the coverage that we're playing to create the hitch that's necessary to get home. It's a lot of things, you know. So I'm hoping, you know, that as our DBs improve, that they get really good at getting connected and disrupting. I'm hoping that we can create enough deception on the back end that we can really create those hitches within the quarterback. And then I'm confident that the interior rush is going to be there. So I'm excited for him to finally get the national recognition that I think he deserves.
Jeff, with the system that Mike runs, the kind of that, you know, the Shanahan system, whatever, with the motion, and using so many running backs, what can you describe what kind of strain that puts on a defense when you've got so many guys coming in and out of there rather than just one guy who's toting the ball, 25 times a game or whatever.
Yeah, there's something to it that each guy brings a little something different to it. The system itself is the strain, because there's this run game that is just it's scientific. It's so deliberate in the way they do everything, and the way they block, and then the way they climb, and the way they scheme you, and the way they target you, and the whole thing, which makes it an absolute pain in the ass from that standpoint. The run game is exceptional, but then it's the play pass that comes off that run game that is that's where the explosive lie. So probably less that it's running back committee. It's more the system that's really challenging. The beauty of it is, like, this is as hard as it gets, and for us to see it every single day is great for our defensive development.
Though it is the system, obviously, but if the backs have different skill sets, doesn't that kind of add to the complication for the defense?
It does. I would say the major thing, and the one thing that is absolutely critical within that offense, as far as I'm concerned, is speed. Guys that can really stress the edge. If you can get our guys overreacting to the run, starting to cross over and go lateral, that's where the play pass comes to life. Whether it's the shots down the field, quarterback movement, whatever the case may be. So it's really the speed of the guys, and they got that. 3 of those, maybe 4 of those 5 guys have exceptional speed. So major strain, but it gets us better for sure.
We talked to C.J. Mosley. He told us he weighed in at, I think, 230 or 231,
Right.
Which he normally hit at 250. What can that do for him? That shedding that weight.
Right. First of all, it's a credit to him. I mean, here's a guy that's, he's lived at the 240s, 245s, and then to understand that in this defense there's going to be a lot of stress on him, especially from a coverage standpoint, where he's going to be put in a lot of situations where he's going to be on speed without help, and got a clear understanding of that in the spring. Worked his butt off this month off. Came back 231, which is that's amazing for a guy. He's not a small man. He is a big man, big structure to him, and to get to 231 took a lot of work. I know from a diet perspective, exercise perspective, all those things, and you're seeing it now. It's for a guy, not to say that he's older, but he played a little bit. This is as good as movement I've ever seen from him. So excited about what he can do within this defense.
With Mosley, how much stress can he take, not only with his movement, but with his communication skills? How much stress can he take off some of the younger defensive backs just by having him?
A lot. And not just the DBs. He's a guy he's got great awareness, great football IQ, but what makes him different is he's got the ability to communicate it all. And like you said, talk to these guys, let them know where there's a little bit of anticipation, which can help a young guy for sure. But he's a huge help for the interior too, like D-line, linebacker standing next to him, his awareness all across the board, pass game, run game, all that he's seen, all that he anticipates, all that he can communicate. It's going to be a huge part of our success.
Huff's a guy that always seems to flash in these practices, and I can't imagine he was a guy who was on your radar when you got here. What have you learned about him in the last few months?
Yeah, I can't say enough about him. He is the absolute same human being every time he steps on the field. Practice, pads, walkthrough, whatever it is, he's ready to work. He's one of those rare guys that you look at him, a little undersized, maybe not fast enough, or whatever the case may be. Doesn't mark all the boxes, but just consistently comes out here and has production. So I'm absolutely pulling for this guy. I hope he has an amazing preseason. I hope he has an opportunity to be part of this team and really be a part of the rotation. I know this, if for whatever the reason he weren't here, I will fight my butt off to find him somewhere to play in this league, because I think he's an NFL player.